Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, new repair station regulations need clarification. The 2015 Women in Aviation Conference will connect, engage, and inspire. And Airlines for America objects to new taxes. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm Ashley Hale. As we are wrapping up today's episode, our newsroom got a late-breaking story. Jim Campbell is here to report.
Good morning, folks. Well, this time breaking news is good news. Dassault Aviation's new flagship, the ultra-long-range Falcon 8X, made its first flight less than a month after rollout. We're getting the details now, but basically, test pilots Eric Girard and Hervé Leverne at the controls of aircraft 8X serial number 1 lifted off from Dassault Aviation's Marignac plant near Bordeaux at 2 p.m. local time. The aircraft leveled off at 5,000 feet, raised its landing gear before beginning flight handling maneuvers and system tests at 15,000 feet. It later climbed to flight level 400, accelerating to Mach 0.8. The aircraft subsequently descended to 5,000 feet for approach and landing at 03:45 p.m. local time. According to Girard, throughout the flight, the Falcon 8X demonstrated excellent handling qualities, the hallmark of all Dassault Aviation aircraft. We reached each of the performance objectives set for the first mission and in a few cases surpassed target goals. I'm confident that the remainder of the flight test program will proceed just as smoothly and feel extremely honored to fly such a handsome and well-engineered aircraft. Well, obviously there's a little bit of hype in there, but it sounds like a test pilot very happy with the results of a first flight. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell.
Late last month, the Aeronautical Repair Station Association asked the FAA to clarify when the new owner of a repair station may apply for an amended certificate versus a new certificate. When the new repair station regulation was published last November, wording was added that was not included in the NPRM, which confuses the issue of when a new or amended certificate is required after ownership of the repair station changes hands. Their concern is that a requirement to obtain a new certificate for an already operating and certificated repair station could lead to lengthy delays in the operation of the business. The association asked the agency to make it clear that an application for a new certificate is only required when the new owner opts for a new certificate number. And even then, the processing interval should depend upon the changes that the new owner makes to the location, housing, facilities, equipment, and personnel. After the break, Airlines for America doesn't like proposed tax increases on airline travelers.
The KSN 770 is an affordable, WAS-enabled integrated MFD with a flexible hybrid user interface from Bendix King. Get your fingers on the 770's perfect blend of touchscreen and hard buttons. Easily control your GPS navigation, Navcom, weather, traffic, and terrain in any condition. For more information, go to bendixking.com.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Welcome back. If you'd like to be a supporter of Airborne Unlimited, send an email to jim@aero-news.net. An industry trade group known as Airlines for America, referred to as A4A, expressed its concern over several unnecessary tax increases, most notably a dramatic hike of the passenger airport tax. All told, the White House is proposing an additional $3.8 billion per year to the more than $20 billion passengers pay today. Airlines pay numerous taxes and collect taxes that are being charged directly to their customers. Ultimately, passenger fares are increased to cover these expenses. These taxes include the passenger airport tax, a federal tax on the ticket price, and taxes for security. The tax system is complex, and it even varies depending on how many stops are involved in the traveler's itinerary. A4A President and CEO Nicholas E. Calio said in part, quote, We can do better than burdening passengers with a tax that is not needed. And for the sake of our economy and jobs, we must. This is exactly why we have called for a national airline policy." End quote. The 26th Annual International Women in Aviation Conference, which will be held in Dallas on March 5th through the 7th, has as its theme, Connect, Engage, Inspire. WAI President Dr. Peggy Chabrian said, quote, "We have something to offer every member at our conference, from the youngest to the oldest, from the most experienced to the newcomers," end quote. Added to the conference this year, AOPA will connect with some of its members as well as WAI members, while hosting a Rusty Pilot Seminar in concurrence with the conference. Girls in Aviation Day is a continuation of this successful program that invites and engages girls ages 10 to 17 to learn more about aviation. They'll be involved in numerous aviation activities, and more than 200 girls are expected to take part in this year's event. A roster of speakers for the Friday and Saturday general sessions are loaded with top-notch women from every field of aviation, and they'll be sure to offer inspiration to attendees. After these messages, Embraer KC-390 military transport makes its first flight.
AML's patent-pending wireless induction charging system eliminates confusion over those charging cables, cuts down cockpit cable clutter, and allows you and your passengers to fly cordless and eliminate the cable nightmare. www.aviationmodificationleaders.com. Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro standby instrument, TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Since the early days of powered flight, pilots have struggled with landing in crosswinds. In fact, crosswinds and wind gusts cause more landing accidents than fog, thunderstorms, and icing combined. That's where the Redbird X-Wind SE comes in. By placing pilots in gusty crosswind conditions for extended periods of time, the X-Wind SE gives instructors all the time they need to teach the pilot the proper techniques for landing in crosswind conditions. For more information on Redbird X-Wind SE and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulation.com.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we've summarized some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. Embraer's KC-390 military transport and aerial refueling jet has successfully completed its first test flight. The aircraft has drawn interest from around the world and will be the backbone of transport aviation for the Brazilian Air Force. Hartzell has received an STC to install its new state-of-the-art lightweight Scimitar prop on Cessna 172 RGs. It's a two-blade aluminum propeller with an aggressively shaped scimitar tip. The installation also includes a lightweight carbon fiber spinner. The FAA continues with its piecemeal approach to granting UAS exemptions for commercial operations, recently granting 8 more exemptions. The total exemptions now amount to 24. Meanwhile, U.S. operators of commercial UASs remain stuck in bureaucratic tar. Flying IFR at night while taking selfies using flash photography could have contributed to the loss of a Cessna 150 and the fatalities of its 2 occupants in 2014. The NTSB based this determination partially from GoPro videos of previous flights. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's move on to the rest of the news. The U.S. Air Force says that it plans to conduct flight tests of the new HH-60W combat rescue helicopter in 2019, with an operational aircraft flying and full production underway by 2023. The aircraft was designed as a replacement for the HH-60G Pavehawk. Lieutenant Colonel Reagan Patrick, a Pavehawk pilot, reportedly said about the new aircraft, quote, "It has increased maneuverability and increases range, payload, and performance in all areas," end quote. Sikorsky was awarded a contract to build the HH-60W, called the CRH, in June of last year. The initial deal was valued at $1.2 billion for engineering and manufacturing development. The overall value of the contract is nearly $8 billion. The preliminary design of the aircraft will be assessed in December 2016. Well, that's our program for Friday, February 6th. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Remember, Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily, Monday through Friday. Join us for the best in aviation and aerospace news, along with a growing roster of over 100 outstanding industry associations and organizations every weekday. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.